Hi guys, welcome to another video. Just here with my favorite accessory, Miss Minerva Taco. She decided to come and hang out with me today for our video under duress. And so, as you can see, she has been kidnapped or catnapped, whatever you prefer. That being said, my name is Jaya. Welcome to this video. If you're new, I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday, primarily on bookish related content with a little spattering of randomness here and there. If you are coming back and you are part of our community already, thank you so much for being here. It has been so much fun to talk all things books with everybody and just continue to go down this journey of my fiction addiction. That being said, today's video is actually going to be a little bit different. We are going to be talking about board games, which is not something I've really touched on too much on this channel. However, I realized that that is a huge part of who I am, and so I figured why not talk about board games, which is a huge part of who I am, and books, which basically defines my entire personality combined together. So what other way can we talk about that other than talking about board games that have to do with words? Okay, I'm gonna let the little catnapped cat go so that I can show you guys these board games. Once again, thank you so much for being here. And like I said, usually the content is primarily on books, but with this being my birthday month, I thought I would switch it up a little bit and do some unique videos in this particular month. So don't be surprised if you guys do see a few hauls this month, because that's definitely going to be coming because it's my birthday month and I go a little crazy in June. And then outside of that, I figured I would also add a few videos based on travel as well as some other things that have happened as well. So without further ado, let's jump into this board game component. So these games in particular have to do with words. Some of them are extremely traditional, but maybe with a slightly unique kind of packaging, combining my love for fiction and games, as well as some of them being just unique games that have to do with words. Now, before I show you the stack that I actually have on my left, I do want to talk about a few board games in particular that I don't actually own, but are absolutely amazing and also great word games. One of them happens to be Bali. This is a game that I've actually learned from my aunt, and basically in this game you have two different colors. You have red and you have black, and you have letters from the entire alphabet in these two colors. You basically start your game with a set of cards in your hand, and you have to create words with these letters. Now, the first player that goes, because you don't have the ability to steal anybody else's words, you do get a little bit of a bonus for the words that you play. And that is the basic idea of the base game. Now, the way that this game becomes more interesting is that basically another player can choose to steal the word that you have placed in front of you and rearrange the letters with cards in their own hand in order to create a completely brand new word. Now, this is very, very important. You cannot basically recreate the word that they've had and add an S on it or something like that. It must be a completely brand new word. If you successfully manage to do that, you gain points. Now, in addition to stealing cards from another player, you can also choose to lay down a different word of your own. So in a game round, basically, you have the ability to steal and create a new word, as well as lay down a new word of your choice with the letters in your hand. At the end of your turn, you can always replenish the number of cards you have played, so you always have a continuous number of, I believe, 7 cards in your hand at all times. The other scoring component of this game, outside of just the numbers on the card itself, depends on the color of the card. So if you have a full word that's made with just red or just black, you will get bonuses on these cards. So that's a great word game for those who are interested. It's again called Bali. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's one of my all-time favorites, and I love playing it with my aunt. My aunt's also a very interesting person as well, because she's actually phenomenal in and of her own right, but outside of that, she's a mathematician and a math teacher. So I find it highly interesting how my aunt, who is trained as an engineer and is primarily a mathematician, prefers word games over all other games. And I had to give that shout out to my aunt because I have played Bali with her so many times, and she's the one who has introduced me to many of the word games that I now own. Now, this being said, I actually have way more board games that have less to do with words than I thought, but I was able to find a few in my collection that I would like to share today. So let's start off with Quiddler. Quiddler is another great word game. This is actually a great party game as well if you're with people who enjoy literature of any kind or word twisty games of any kind. This game was another game that was introduced to me by my aunt. As you can see on the front cover, this game comes with a bunch of different cards. Now within the box, you basically have a lovely little tray with the the various Quiddler cards inside of it. So this is what the internal package looks like. Each of the different cards have varying letters on them, and each of the letters has a different score, as you can see. Now, every once in a while, there will be letters that are actually 2 letters, such as this lovely ER or TH, so on and so forth. The way that the game works is you start the game with 3 cards in your hand. Now, using these 3 cards in your hand, you can basically choose to create a word with all 3 letters. Every word in this game must have at least 3 letters in it. At the beginning of your turn, you have your set cards. You can choose to either take a card that is laid open. In this case, it would have been an O, or you can take a card from the top deck. In this case, it would have been a D. You cannot do both. Now, I happen to have O, P, and I in my hand. Given the fact that O is the other letter that's on the open section, I could choose to get rid of my I and create the word poo and put the word down if I wanted to, but knowing me, I probably wouldn't have done that. So instead, I probably would have drawn the top card, which would have been a D. Now, dip is a very beautiful word that we have here with this D. So basically, I would throw this card away, and now I have my word. As soon as a player lays down their word open, everybody else has one more turn in order to complete a word with the cards in their hand as well. Now, each round will basically increase in the number of cards you have in your hand. You will play up to 10 rounds. So for example, the first round you will start with 3 cards in your hand. The second round you will start with 4. The next round will be 5, so on and so forth. You will always, at the end of your turn, only have that set number of cards in your hand. But as you can see, using either the open card that's face up or the card from the top of the deck, you can choose to switch out letters in your hand in order to create the words that you want. This game, I think, is also a great party game just because you can encompass so many different players in this game, and it really allows for people to get to know each other. Now, the box itself says it's a 1 to 8 player game. However, I have personally played this game with up to 12 people before, and we didn't have any issues. Now, in this game, it usually takes about 35 to 40 minutes, and the best part about this game is you can play it with any age range. So whether you're playing with a 8-year-old or you're playing with a 89-year-old, you are totally fine, and the whole family can have fun. So I really love Quiddler. I think it's a great word game. And of course, if you wanted, you can add your own house rules to this. We have definitely had girls' night before where we've done this game, and we basically said only girls' night related themes with the words you created. I've also played this with some of my friends before where we're absolute geeks, so it was based on Marvel, things like that. You can do all kinds of fun, quirky things with this game, which is great, and I think it's just fun for the family. Now, ways to score points in addition to just the scoring on the cards on the word letters is that the person who has the most letters in a word. So for example, let's say you're playing a 3-card round and one player happens to have one of those double letter cards. Well, that word just got 4 letters in it, where everybody else may only have 3 letters in their word. So therefore, that person would get an additional bonus set of points. Another way to score bonus points is to have the most number of words. So as you get further in the game, and keep in mind, every word must have at least 3 letters in it. If you're playing, your 9-card round, you might actually be able to create 3 or 4 words with the number of cards in your hand. If you happen to have the most number of words, then you can also score bonuses for that round as well. The scores at the end of the game are basically tallied, and that's how you figure out who the winner is. But again, great fun for everyone. The next game I want to talk about is actually Scrabble. Now, Scrabble is obviously a classic game. We all have heard of it. We've all probably seen it. It's probably been around in the family for a while. Scrabble is basically a tile-based game where you have a board and you are using the different spots on the board to create words. You do basically have to build it like a crossword puzzle where you're building off of other people's letters in order to make these words on the board. The board itself is actually pretty straightforward to look at. It's just your classic square board. But what makes this game even more unique, of course, in your classic Scrabble faction is the fact that you can get bonus points depending on where you lay your word. Some of these squares will allow you to score double for a letter, triple for a letter. Others will actually allow you to double or triple the score of the word itself. So I absolutely love these fun little quirky boards that you get. Now, this particular version of Scrabble that I have, and you start with 7 tiles of letters, and then you will replenish each time you use the letters in order to create the words in your game. Now, this particular version of Scrabble that I own also came with its own little Scrabble score sheet, so that's always fun in order to be able to keep track of all of the points in the game. But the thing I love about this particular version, which it was actually, it also came with a pencil, but this particular version is particularly special to me because it was actually a gift from someone I was dating at the time. And the beauty of this is it looks like a book. So this version of Scrabble, and I will link it below on Amazon, is actually developed by a company that makes board games, but they make the board games look more classic, and it actually has these beautiful, beautiful covers where it looks like it's a book on a shelf. The other thing that's nice about this is actually cloth bound, so it feels like a lot of those classic cloth bound books that you can find in various stores, whether it be Barnes & Nobles, Target, wherever it might be that you like to buy your books, that just add that little oomph of vintage vibes and classic feels when you're reading. So I love the fact that this kind of combines both aspects for me because it definitely has a bookish vibe to it, but it also has that board gaming component, and I absolutely love that about this particular version of Scrabble. The other thing I love about it is they really do try to elevate their game pieces, so they give you actually wooden pieces to put all your letters in, and the letters themselves are also wood, and it comes in this very, very nice cloth bag, but you can see that the tiles themselves are actually quite nice as well, and laser cut pieces. So I just think that in terms of the quality, it's so great. And this is created by Hasbro, if I'm not mistaken. Now, like I said, will link the Amazon link to be able to find this game online, but just to give a better idea of how to store this, it actually pops right back in to this lovely sleeve. And now you have your little bookshelf version of Scrabble. They actually create a lot of other games as well, and they tend to be a lot of the classic games. So I know they have games like Candyland and Life and things like that. For our collection, we happen to have Clue, Monopoly, Scrabble, and Battleship, and those are pretty much the only classic games I actually own. But I absolutely love this version, and I'm still so thankful to the person that bought this for me because it's just so special. And as you can say on the top, it literally says Vintage Bookshelf Edition, and I love it. So that being said, we've talked a little bit about the traditional and as traditional as you can go with Scrabble. So let's talk about Scrabble, but with a twist. This game is called Bananagrams. Now, Bananagrams is so much fun. You basically have a big, big, big pile of tiles in the middle of the floor or the table, wherever you guys are playing, and you start with 7 tiles in front of you. You are creating your own crossword puzzle of letters, and you're basically trying to make the most number of words as quick as possible, basically pulling tiles from the middle of the table as quick as you can as you lay the tiles down. Now, you cannot get new tiles until you have completed all the tiles in your hand, so this is one of those games where it's the fastest is the person who's going to get the more tiles. The tiles actually have values on them as well. Now, the fun thing about this is every single time a player is reaching for a new tile, they have to yell out, "Peel." The moment you hear the word peel, everyone has to take a tile. So only a person who's completed using all of their tiles can actually reach into the middle initially to draw the first tile, but the moment you hear peel, everybody has to draw a tile. Now, naturally, as this game moves pretty quickly, you can end up with a bunch of tiles on your hand where you don't know what to do with it. You are welcome to put 1 tile back into the middle pile and take 3 in replacement. So every time you put a tile back, you have to take 3. Also, the person who completes all of their tiles first, and there's nothing to supplement it in the central pile load, gets to scream Bananagrams, basically saying that they have completed the task and they have won the game. Whoever screams Bananagrams is the person who will obviously have their tally scored, and they are typically the winner of the game. However, house rules, however you want to do it your way. You can make everybody a winner. You can also be more competitive in terms of scoring. Again, you can do themed Bananagram nights where you want specific words based on a theme. So you can do whatever you want with this game. The other thing about this is that there is, from my understanding, a 2-letter limit. I don't think there's a 3-letter limit with this, but you can definitely find this game pretty much anywhere. So if this seems like a game for you, definitely consider picking it up. Target, Walmart, Amazon, they all carry it. It's like $12. The best part about it is it's very travel friendly. So this is so easy to throw inside of your backpack and run, especially if you want to play it on an airplane with your children or with your spouse or your partners or your friends, depending on where you're going. It's also great for cruises. It's great for restaurants. It's great for game night, wherever you want to go, because it just packs so easy. Let me show you guys what the tiles look like real quick as well, so you have an idea. Now the tiles do not have scores. So remember, the scoring on this is actually based on whoever finishes all of the tiles first. But this is actually double bananagram, so I have double the letters, double the fun. But you can also get the single bananagram player mode if you would want to, so that you can play with less people. But this game, I think, is just great in terms of party vibes, and it's just so much fun for the whole family. And again, it's just so light and easy to pack. So definitely one that I suggest for everyone to have on the roster for family game night. The last game that I actually wanted to show is a very interesting take on Wordle. For those of you who don't know what Wordle is, Wordle was initially its own company. It basically created puzzles where you would go in and you would basically write out a 5-letter word. You had 6 guesses then to try to figure out what the word Wordle had created for that day was going to be. Now, each of these letters, depending on the placement, it would tell you in green if that was the correct letter and the correct placement. It would also tell you yellow for any letters that are in the actual word that they want you to guess, but may not be in the right place. And they gray out any of the letters that are not used in the word at all. You have 6 attempts to try to figure out which letters are used in the word and what the word is. Now, fiction is a very unique version of this game. Basically, this is the one that probably correlates the most to my reading addiction because it is based on literature cards. So the way that fiction works, and what makes it a little bit different than Wordle, is that you actually have prompts to select your word. So you can see here that based on the color of the card, the theme might be a different book. So we have Moby Dick, we have Pride and Prejudice, we have The Great Gatsby, and basically The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. What these cards have is an excerpt from the passage. Now you may notice that the letters on these, the words on these cards, focus. Hello. I don't know why it's not focusing, guys. Let's try a different card. Nope, still won't focus. But basically, all the highlighted cards are words that have 5 letters. Anything that is in red, you cannot use because it uses 2 letters twice. If you happen to play your own version where you do use the red letters, I believe you do have to tell people that, hey, you have 2 of the same letter in this card. All of the words that are highlighted in yellow are basically 5-letter words that do not have repeat letters within the word. Now, the way that this game works is that the person who is the librarian will basically have one of these cards and select one of these words from that card that they want the other person to guess. The other person then gets to write out their guesses on these lovely tiles, and based on the letters that they write, the librarian, or the person controlling the word, will give you an X, a check mark, or a yellow marker to basically tell you that hey, that letter is correct and it's in the right spot. No, that letter is not there, or the squiggly mark that basically says it's in the wrong spot. Now, the fun thing about this game, that's also what makes it more challenging, is that the librarian who is saying, yes, your guesses are correct or incorrect, can lie 1 time each turn. So you have to pay attention to what letters you're guessing and what clues your librarian is giving you in order to figure out the correct word. Now, as you can imagine, the more guesses that you take, the more that things seem like they're a lie, the easier it is to guess the word. But sometimes it can get really frustrating while you're trying to figure out that word, because those lies, they can get you. But that's another version of Wordle, basically, that came out recently, and I personally found this particular game at Barnes & Noble's in their game section, and my husband and I have tried it a couple of times. We do love it. I personally prefer to be the librarian than the one guessing, simply because of the lying rule, but I will say it's fun for the whole family. This game actually tends to play pretty quickly as well, so I would say in general it's about a 20-minute playtime, per round. So that makes it nice and quick, and you can play up to 8 people at a time, which means that you can technically do this in party mode and have multiple people guessing at the same time. And that basically brings me to the conclusion of the word-related games that I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy this video, please leave me a comment below. If you do want to see more board games in my collection, as well as some of the other games that we enjoy playing, definitely let me know. I have quite a large collection. I think at this point we have almost 90 board games. So if you guys want to see some of our favorites, then I can definitely do that for you. Or if you want options for party games, date nights, solo play, or 2-player mode, or one-time play where it's games that you can take with you on travel and then throw out before you come back, this is definitely an option that I can talk about for you guys as well. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely leave me a comment below. But in terms of combining my board game love and my fiction addiction, these are some of the games that spoke to me. If any of these seem interesting to you or you guys have them, definitely let me know what you think. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are, whether it's morning, evening, or night, and wishing you all the best in everything. Love you guys. Thank you for helping me create this community. If you guys are new here, again, usually my content is going to be more bookish related, but with a little randomness here and there. If that sounds like it's definitely up your alley, consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. For those of you that are returning, once again, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. I've had so much fun creating this world and this community with you guys, and it's just been such a pleasure to see it grow and see so many people show not only interest in my content, but also just the support of knowing that there's other people out there who enjoy books as much as I do. So thank you once again for being here. It's such a pleasure, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.